Okay, we're going to do a one-year review of the F150 Lightning. We were the second ones in Ontario to land one last September in 22. This is a Lariat, dual battery, extended range, fully jammed vehicle. It's a great driving vehicle. We've enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm going to give you a mechanic's perspective and an owner's perspective on this vehicle. Okay, when we first picked our Lightning up in September of 2022, the advertised range was about 500 kilometers. We were getting about 400. The warmer weather was still here in Canada. Well, you've got your radio going, you've got your air conditioning going, whatever other items you might be utilizing, lighting. So we were actually getting about 400, which is a slight bit disappointing. The disappointment got much greater once the colder weather came for Canada. As soon as December shot around, we were getting less than 300 kilometers of range, and we were told that we would not have that significant a drop with this vehicle. It was to a point where I called the manufacturer or our dealership back, and I said, whoa, this truck's coming back, guys. This range is horrible. We were down to 250, 240 at times, depending on how the weather was. But again, we're using heated seats. We're using the heater. We're using the radio. Ford told us, wait. Updates are coming. They weren't lying. As the updates got better over the winter, by the end of winter, we were getting over 400 kilometers to a charge. So that the updates did do a great deal for the technology and for the range. So that was greatly appreciated. We knew we were one of the early ones with this vehicle. We were probably the second in Ontario. So we knew a lot of the kinks and the bugs needed to be worked out when we first landed this truck. We were prepared for that. And again, by the end of winter, range was great. Summer range throughout this entire summer, we were getting advertising, or on the screen it said about 520 after a full charge. Realistically, we were getting about 70% of that. When we were measuring 100-kilometer distances, we would see we'd actually be getting about 125 to 130 kilometers of range removed from the range monitor on this for every 100 that we would do. And that's under all sorts of different driving situations for this vehicle. Okay, first thing that we want to discuss is the 15-inch screen. It's fantastic. It's a great screen. You can display multiple things on here. The map is nice. It's huge. You've got your radio, all your other settings on the bottom. Everything works off of the toggle, so whatever you want, you just touch and switch it on here. But a 15-inch screen was great. We came from a Ram TRX previous to this, had a 12-inch screen, which I thought was quite good, but the 15-inch is an amazing screen, and you see everything from both sides. The main screen here, you can set it up any way you want. It's got a lot of good things on it as well. You've got your range over here. We're at 493 right now. Full charge is about 517, 520. You've got your lane departure. This vehicle also has the Blue Cruise, which is a great feature to have. That's the semi-autonomous drive mode, which I do use quite a bit. In the mornings, you want to have a tea, drive, do what you want to do. You can't sit there on your laptop or anything. You do have to focus on the road with the Blue Cruise. It's not like the Super Cruise. It doesn't switch lanes for you like the GM does. But the semi-autonomous drive mode is a nice feature to have. This is the Lariat with the Lariat Plus. We got it early, so we did get all of the options right down to the wireless charge pad, everything that was the workstation, everything that Ford couldn't provide was on this vehicle. They had shortages in the aftermath. So this one did come with everything we needed to get. Okay, let's talk about the performance. This thing lives up to its name. It's lightning fast. This thing goes, I believe it's 1234 in the quarter mile. We came from a TRX into this truck. Everybody thought I was crazy. How do you go from a 700 plus horsepower supercharged Ram with all the bells and whistles into an electric Lightning? Speed-wise, they're probably on par with each other. I think this one's actually a 10th quicker in the quarter mile. This thing just gets up and goes. With the dual motors, there's no wheel spin. If you want to accelerate, it's just gone. You hit the gas and it is gone. With your TRX, different scenario. Lots of combustion buildup, supercharger buildup, tire spin, and then it took off. Mind you, that's a lot of fun as well. This one's dead quiet. The TRX was extremely loud. The biggest person that was upset when I bought the Lightning was the guy that owned the gas station around the corner from me. I wasn't there every 2 days, give him 250 bucks worth of gas. One of the greatest things about this vehicle was the performance. The next greatest thing is passing that gas station every day. I look over with a little bit of sadness because they were really fond of me in there because I was in there so much with that TRX. I went an entire winter without having to fill up, and that was great. February, snowstorm, go right past it, no care or concern, get home, plug in, away you go. So the electric feature obviously is a great feature for everybody that doesn't want to use gas, fossil fuels, whatever you're going to do. If this was my only vehicle, though, I'm not sure I could have gone with just one vehicle. We'll get into that a little bit. There's a word that came up over the last few years called charge anxiety. That's what we're going to discuss next. All right, let's talk about the new term we have, range anxiety. Even though this thing in the winter was getting 400 by the end, around the Christmas time, I wanted to take my daughter to Kingston, which is about 400-kilometer drive. When I checked the range on this in the winter, it actually wouldn't have been able to make it. So that started stressing me quite a bit, especially when you're traveling with a 6-year-old or just traveling in general when you're going long distances. This does have the feature where you can type in your destination. It'll tell you where you need to charge. I noticed over the year that we've had this, though, we pull into a lot of charge stations and the charge station is not operational, or it's a different charge station, so you have to fill out an app for them. It's a pain in the butt. Every time you go to a different one, you're into a different app. You have to put your credit card into it. All that stuff has to be done. And when we get in and you get there and you're on, no charge at all, and there's a lineup, that's a problem. You've got to wait for that. When you go to get gas, you don't have to line up for gas. You may have 1 or 2 cars, but you're in, you're out, you're filled, and you go. With this one, if you get to a supercharged station, you still got to wait 45 minutes to get to 80%. The biggest concern was we had a snowstorm hit in December of last year, and the power went out in the area that I was going. So had we actually gone that day, we would have been in big trouble because there was cars on the side of the road. People couldn't get through the snow. There would have been nowhere to charge with the power failure due to the huge snowstorm that we had. Luckily, I didn't put my daughter in the vehicle. We delayed a day, and it actually ended up not doing the trip in the aftermath because of all the issues. So we didn't get to see, grandma for Christmas. Not really the truck's fault, but again, it becomes an issue when you are going on any type of a long drive that you have to factor all these things. You have to factor weather, charge stations, distances, all that's going to come into play. And that's where the range anxiety comes from. So that term is pretty true with these vehicles. Okay, let's talk about a mechanic's perspective on this vehicle. We've had this 16,000 kilometers 1 year. Other than tire rotations in that span, there's not a lot you're going to be doing. That's about 11,000 miles for the US people. Not a lot you're going to do on any vehicle in that span. Electric cars obviously are a lot less maintenance than a gas vehicle. Overall, no issues, no warranty, no problems at all. We heard through the grapevine a lot of people complaining about these vehicles. I could see the complaints about the range initially, but that got remedied quite well. I never heard from another Lightning owner of anybody complaining. I heard from a lot of non-Lightning owners about complaints, but they didn't have the ownership perspective. Again, this is a year now driving it. I give this vehicle an 8 out of 10. This vehicle performs great. It handles well for a pickup truck. It can tow. It can't tow far, but it can tow. I put my 7,700-pound trailer on the back of this. Tow range goes from full is 258 kilometers, probably 175, 180 miles. And that's a very heavy trailer. It's 27 foot, over 7,000 pounds. So that's not terrible. Again, when you're towing, you're going to be stopping more frequently. So you're going to have to charge with the trailer on the back. So that could become a problem. But overall, I love this truck. I still love my gas engines. I still love my forced induction. I love my V8s, my V10s. But this vehicle performed incredibly well. You have zero complaints as far as the overall for this vehicle. I mean, obviously, the initial range things, we already discussed the 2 things that I wasn't happy about. Those did get remedied for the most part. Truck overall, fantastic truck. I would definitely buy another one. I would keep this one even longer, but we do in my industry, we flip vehicles. A year to have one vehicle in my industry is a long time. So I obviously enjoyed it. I did enjoy not having to get gas. I did enjoy the power. And in Ontario, Canada, you get a green plate when you have an electric vehicle, which means you can ride in the HOV lane by yourself. So the high occupancy vehicle lane, single passenger. And that's a great thing for me. I travel back and forth to work 50 kilometers each way, and I use that HOV lane. So my big thing was I can get on the highway, I can hit semi-autonomous Blue Cruise, I can have my morning tea, I can eat a sandwich for breakfast, and the vehicle will take me right into work, and it'll do it in the HOV lane, which saves me 15, 20 minutes going back and forth each day. So overall, again, I give this truck an 8 out of 10. I highly recommend it for anybody that is going to go full electric. I haven't seen the Ram. They're saying they're going to have a lot more range. The GM's saying they're going to have a lot more range. This is the initial one. Ford did a great job. So we'll give them some credit. We're always quick to discredit or critique the manufacturers, what they do wrong, but Ford did a great job on this truck. I'm sure they're going to update. I'm sure the ranges are going to get better, but for this model, first one out the door from Ford, great job, Ford. Okay, guys, that's pretty much a wrap for our 1-year run on a Ford Lightning. If you have any questions, you're thinking about buying one, if there's anything you want to know that I didn't cover, please leave it in the comments. Otherwise, this is a bit different than our usual content. It's usually performance vehicles, it's modifications. This one, we just wanted to give a perspective, a driver's perspective on this Ford Lightning. Again, it was a great vehicle for the year we've had it. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments. Please like, please subscribe, and please share. Thanks for watching.
My daddy built cool cars and trucks.